Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have a special guest joining us from Australia. Her name is Sonya Corkery, and she's the founder of Clear Plan Consulting. So Sonya, tell us, what are the 5 steps to achieve your first million?
Well, for me, I'm really numbers driven. So when I wanted to map out and plan making my first million, I was very statistical about it because I just love numbers. I love strategy. So one of the first things for me was really around the planning. So for me, I had a set number in mind. I wanted to do $1 million in a year, and I really broke that down into achievable KPIs. So whether you can have a product or a service that does $200 per product or service, I would need to sell 5,000 of those to make $1 million. If I had a product or service that was a $20,000 product or service, I only need to sell 500. So I really needed to be clear around what product or service I really needed to want as my driving thing to be able to generate that $1 million. Now, once I did that and I could have something that was quite tangible, or I could set up and it could be selling overnight when I was sleeping, I really had the numbers down pat. That was the easy part. But the planning for the number tick, that was completed. So the next thing.
Basically, people said about doing the plan, by you saying doing your business plan, but put KPIs around the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. But when I plan not only for my business, but I plan for my personal. And for me, it's really about not only investing in your business, but investing in yourself and investing for your personal life for the rest of your life. Because what you ultimately want to create with your business are passive income streams for yourself as a human being, as a family, for your life, possibly after business. But also, that's building away when you're building your business. So it's having those things twofold. But you're absolutely right. If you set those targets, the KPIs, it's really so much easier to make it achievable for yourself.
Excellent. So then what would be the step number 2?
For me, step number 2 is making sure I've got the industry or the speciality down pat, because something that COVID really taught us were not all businesses were immune to, these big events. So what product or service can I have that enables me to keep working anywhere in the world, any time of the day, generating that income, possibly when I'm asleep? And how will I maintain that if something massive happened in the world or in the industry that I'm in? So for me, obviously, it's consulting, which takes my brain. So as long as my brain is functioning, or I have a team that are, offering the same service that I'm offering within my business, I'll always be able to offer that product or service. Something we always joke about here in Australia are laundromats, because they work 24 hours a day. Those businesses that are largely not even manned, not selling anything that people aren't using in their day-to-day life. So the product or industry, is it going to be able to be protected? And that's really important. And thinking about that, and thinking about the future advancements, and making sure that you're keeping up with what's happening in the future to maintain that business or service for the long term, for the duration. Really important.
Yeah. And then the next step, number 3?
Number 3 is making sure you have capital put aside, or investments, or something that can help you have a backing, because it's really important when you get started to have some kind of war chest, some kind of fallback, because it's really easy to get carried away in the beginning and, use up all your money really quickly if you're not careful with how you're investing that money to keep propelling yourself forward. Because we know, that $1 million that I need to take into account the overheads to run my business, or anything that I need to maintain and pay. So I need to be making sure that money is working for me, and I have a fallback put aside. So even before you go out and start your business, and when we first started, my husband had put aside $20,000 just to get started, to have some kind of fallback. So that has to come from somewhere. We talk about, friends and family or anyone that can help that's in your immediate circle. But if you have something that's great and you've got everything mapped out, you can always look at bringing on other investors within your circle. So that to me is really important, to make sure you've got a fallback plan.
And it's the number 4?
Number 4 is build a team to help execute. So I call that a red team. And that might be a team of specialists. They don't even need to work directly for your business, but it could be your accounting specialist, your legal specialist, all of the people that need to get on board with your idea or vision to help build your business, so that every time that you're progressing throughout your journey, you can go and have the conversation with them to make sure that you're doing everything correct in that part of the business, so they can keep executing and just making sure you're aware of any pitfalls that might happen or anything that might cause you not to be able to continue your journey. So it's really important to have the red team of specialists, people in your business that are helping you continually move the business forward, because at the end of the day, you're one person. So the first million, once you get that on track, you'll want to make the second million and the third million, and just keep growing. And you need team members to help you do that. And you need people who are great in their field to do that as well.
And then the last one, step number 5?
Build an empire for your business and your personal.
Wow.
So as I kind of alluded to, your business is the vehicle to get you where you want to go personally, whether you have a family, whether it's just you as an individual. If you want to have a business that leaves multi-generational growth and income for family members for generations, that's really a massive plan. But it's absolutely achievable if you're investing not only in your business, but outside your business as well, so that you have other things. I call it like life after business, right? What if you had enough money and you could, retire at the age of 50? You want to keep your brain active, whether it's in real estate investments, the stock market, investing into gold and silver and bullion, or crypto, it doesn't matter, but your brain is entrepreneurial. It want to keep busy. So if you're no longer in the day-to-day grind of your business, you may maintain it for an income stream on its own, but you want to have something to keep you busy and excited. So it's really important, build that empire and see what life looks like, as well as a business.
So yeah, I love your 5 steps, but especially your step number 1, which is very few people talk about this, almost nobody, and it's really, really important, which is build your business plan, but not also around your business, but also your personal life, right?
Yes.
This is what happened, and you know it, you've been there, we have been there, everybody that started the business, and when you start the business, it's like life is gone. There is no more weekends, there is no more sleep, there is no more peace. A lot of stress and anxiety comes into that process, because you have low resources, you have to do everything. If you make a mistake, this 20K that you save with your husband can disappear like that, just by a tiny mistake that you don't even, and you were not aware because you didn't know. So what happened is all these, when the entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs, even me, when I started my first business, I went to that path, right? You are so stressed out, you are tired because you're working. You don't have resources, so you have to do everything by yourself. So you are tired, you are angry, you have your first client doesn't pay you, or pay you half, your supplier don't commit and arrive a little late, and things like that create all this emotional and negative baggage. And because people don't take in consideration the other part of their life, all the business become their life, and clearly the business can kill you. The other day I interviewed one person here in this podcast, multi-millionaire, and the guy he got 3 businesses, and he was vomiting blood, right? Because of the
Oh, that's
pressure,
awful.
the pressure that,
Yeah.
that the nature of building these 3 companies, the day by day, and until he said, you know what? I'm running this company is not running me, and he went off to Thailand for a year. And I have a very nice chat with the podcast. The guy is healthy, he's happy, but he told me, Harry, I have a point in my life that I have to switch off, because literally the business can kill me. To me, the same thing in my first business, the property one, when we managed to sell over 5 million. It was some point that all the clients want to speak with me, and I'm telling to my team they cannot all speak with me, and only one person. If they all want to speak with me, I cannot sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These people are gonna kill me. I was thinking to my team, they're gonna kill me. So I actually employ one person to take all the calls to because as everybody want to speak. They would call the office and know who's the boss. They would say, Harry, okay, I want to speak with Harry. So everybody want to speak with the people.
Yeah.
And then when you have a large volume of clients, this is not possible. I couldn't. If I speak with all my clients, I cannot work. Then I only spend the whole day on the phone with the clients.
Yeah.
You know that, Sonya. So my question to you: at which point in your life you realize that when you organize the business from the beginning, it has to be in a holistic way, in a 360, and taking consideration all these elements, so you look after your mental health parallel while you grow in the business? Because if you don't look after your mental health parallel if you grow in the business, you can that emotional pain sometimes become a physical pain. People can have cancer, vomiting blood, so when do you
Yeah.
from who you learn that? Do you learn by experience? Do you have this idea? So this step number 1 that you share with us, how you come up with that conclusion?
Well, when I talk about planning, I talk about it across all aspects of the business. Now, I have a very close friend of mine last year who was running a multi-million-dollar marketing business here in Brisbane, Australia. Now, she was completely broken. Like, she was turning over millions, but she was absolutely completely broken. And last September, she just decided overnight, she just closed her business. She gave all of her team 1 month's notice, and she said, I'm closing. She could have sold that business.
Wow.
But she literally was so physically and emotionally exhausted and very unwell that she couldn't even bear the thought of going through that. And she just closed it overnight. So I have seen that firsthand actually happen, and talking to her every day and saying, are you okay? Like, what's happening today? Just to make sure that she was still functioning. So there are a few things that I really consider important when it comes to not only the running of the business, but also for your own personal self, because you need to have that balance. Now, I'm not talking about, having half a day off every day. Obviously, we need to be productive, because if we aren't, the business will then suffer, right? So you need to find this medium. But what I really talk about is, I always have this thing that I kind of joke about. It's doing a favor for your future self, and I'll explain that. Every time I do something, every single day, I ask myself, how can I better my Sonya for tomorrow? How can I help her? How can I help Sonya in 3 months? How can I help Sonya in 6 months? I can do that by a couple of different ways. Whether if it's, I get up in the morning and I actually put on a meal in the slow cooker, so the meal is ready when I get home at the end of the day. If it's booking a weekend away in 3 months' time, if it's booking a family holiday away in 6 months or 12 months' time. Like, I'm off to Europe next week. I planned this holiday some time ago, but I haven't really been too obsessive about it. So it's kind of come up and it's a nice surprise, right? So you must schedule time to have a mental reset. Now, you could do a retreat, or it could just be making sure you do meditation every day. It's making sure that you eat properly. It's making sure that you go and have a magnesium float, or whatever it is that helps you calm. Once you find that, it's scheduling in that time repetitively and committing as much as you commit to your business, to your own health. And if you maintain that commitment and knowing that you are as important, if not more important than your business, then you will always make sure that you make that time and that you keep well.
I think that for me, Sonia, I think that the biggest blockage that I have, right, when I started the business is I was resistant to employ people. You know, do you have this mindset of the
No one can do it as good as us, Harry.
you know, I want to do everything by myself. I was like, you know, thinking, you know, I was doing rental properties. I'm thinking, how come I'm gonna give the keys of the property to somebody else? Is something they steal something from my tenants? You know, my tenants are priceless. You know, I deal with them. You know, and then the maintenance people and so on. So I was very resistant to employ people. But the point was, Sonia, that the more the business grow, the more exhausted I was. I was tired. I couldn't handle it because, you know, when it gets certain amount, I cannot do all tasks. And I think because I was exhausted, I gave up
because even though you
my
had
ego.
people,
I gave up my ego. I gave up my I don't know, my not trusting people thing that I have in my head that I don't know where it's coming from, because, you know, I trust everybody. But, you know, when you started this business like your baby, you know, when you have your baby, you try to protect your baby, and you are in this cycle in your own brain, you know. And I didn't know my parents are not entrepreneurs. Nobody in my family is entrepreneur, so I don't have any reference of anybody to me anything. And but then something amazing happened, Sonia. Then when I start to hire the people, turns out that they were all better than me at everything. To the point that one day they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you in the office. I'm like, what? You don't need paper in the printer? They say, no, go home. We can get our own paper in the printer. Stay at home, travel, come with a new idea. We implement it, we're running for you, right? So, and that's, Sonia, this when I discovered the other side of the equation, when you are talking about, you know, when you have that happiness, that joy, that wow, I work really hard, but, you know, I make something that now I'm literally relieved, you know. And of course, you know, I'm enjoying the benefit, the wealth and everything, but I can work in other projects, I can work in other things. So the feeling is amazing. Yeah. But well, as entrepreneurs, as you are, you know, the other side of the story is, you know, I should take all the money and go on holiday and travel the world. But what I did, I opened a restaurant in Brick Lane in London. I lost 200,000 pounds in 2 years of my life. You know? It was a big disaster. Yeah. But this is one, which again, a lot of people talk, Sonia, about how to deal with failure, but nobody really talks about how to deal with success. And I was feeling uncomfortable. Oh my God, this money is coming and I'm not doing anything. This is crazy. I had to do something. I'm in my house and I'm nervous, you know, rather than being stable and enjoy it and said that, okay, you did amazing and have some rest, travel the world, do something, be more relaxed. The success actually gave me more anxiety at some point, because you start to, you know, your head start to think. So what is your view on this, Sonia? That, you know, a lot of people talk about how to deal with failure, but very little people talk how to deal with success and embrace the success and enjoy it and be happy about it. And so what's your view on this? Who teach you how to deal with success?
I'm a bit like you. I did have some references, like my mother and father. Well, my mother was always in business, but she knew how to make money, but she gave a lot away. So she didn't really invest it into anything else. So she was always working hard and making it, but it was never staying around. Money never stayed around her. It wasn't invested in any way to kind of keep giving her income streams, right? So I didn't really know how to maintain a level of success until we started having a business that kind of grew. on its own fruition. Like even without us really pushing this beast just started growing. And then much like you just said, I was really scared of losing that thing because I identified as the business. It became me. It was everything. It encompassed my whole entire life. I would eat and sleep and think all the time about my business. So the fear of losing that was really driving me. I was really driven by fear. And not really driven by any kind of joy or happiness about having a fulfilled life, right? And that's really what it's about. We have limited time on this earth. You know, I have 3 kids. I want to be with my kids. 100%. And I really had to reframe in my mind what my success looked like and what it meant to me. And I really had to distinguish what it was outside of this business. If this business was gone tomorrow, who was I? What was the life that I wanted to live? And what that, you know, really made me think about was, how have I mapped that out, right? And how can I achieve that? Now, once we got to that point that the business was largely running on its own, I felt myself like idle hands, right? What am I doing with my time? And because I needed to be doing something, like you were saying about, can I fill up the paper in the, like, what do you need? Because you want to feel useful. You want to feel useful. It's like, you give every single dollar in your business a purpose, every single dollar in your investments a purpose. Everything is planned and it's going somewhere. But if you're sitting around and you don't have anything to do, you can, you know, get really scared and lost in the feeling of not being needed for something. So for me, I really wanted to keep active in that area. And I just went off and started learning more about all of the other types of investments and things I was interested in property development and other kinds of investments, so I could keep building my brain in a different way. So using my skill set, but for me and for my family. And that really gave me that feeling of fulfillment. And for me, success was really about fulfillment. And that's what I needed to do. I needed to feel like I was contributing in some amazing way and just direct that into another area. And that will always continue. So I needed to get that level of success in my own self as well as in my business, if that makes sense. And I really learned that largely from just listening to podcasts like this and reading books and talking to other business owners in business groups and connecting with people and saying, well, what is it that you do and what works for you? And what is it that you do and what works for you? And really adapting something for my own self that worked for me.
Yeah, I think that, Sonia, the most important thing is that we identify that we actually need help, right? Or at least some point of reference, somebody that have achieved that. You know, I resonate a lot with the story that you shared about your friend, because we see that a lot more and more, and you know, we want the entrepreneurs to be happy. We want them to be healthy. We want them to be wealthy. We want it that they can spend time with the children, and because, you know, let's face it, we are the last piece in the puzzle. Nobody wants us, even the banks. You go and ask for a mortgage to a bank. They give the mortgage to my employee. They don't give it to me. It's unbelievable. But anyway, he said that I'm too much risk. You know, so so the entrepreneurs are the we take a lot of risk. We employ people. We move forward the economy, but in the end of the day, we shouldn't be paying. We shouldn't be end up sick or with cancer or with mental health issues or you know, and a large huge portion of the entrepreneurs have even people that have visited this podcast, you know, interview already around more than 500 millionaires, and a lot of people have guests of this podcast. You know, they are wealthy, but they still have a lot of, you know, mental health issues, because building a company, you know, they give you some blueprint there that somehow you have to let go. And the previous guest was sharing with me that, you know, that he's also listening podcasts and doing some type of exercise to let things go. So, so what are the message that you have for the entrepreneurs out there listening that are exactly in the same situation that your colleague, your friend, or let's talk about this restaurant owner or this small business owner that is working Monday to Sunday, 12 hours in the business, trying to make this thing work. They don't have time to spend with the children. They don't have time to be with the family. They don't even speak with the wife. And then they have this emotional pain, emotional negative baggage of tiredness, frustration, anger. They cannot sleep well, and all this emotional pain. I'm glad that your girlfriend quit. You see,
Yeah.
because this emotional pain can become a physical pain, can end up with cancer, and the business can kill you. Literally, can kill
Yeah.
if you don't
Yep.
if you don't work. So, what message do you have for those entrepreneurs out there that they are stuck, they are suffering, and so what can you tell them?
You really need to understand that the business is only a vehicle. That's what it is. To be honest, it's the best vehicle in the world to get you uncapped money, uncapped income, uncapped investments.
I
It's
agree on
the
that.
only way people have success, right? Is to have something that they're not limited. And that's what the great thing about business is for us. We have this entity that's not capped. So it's largely what we invest into it, what we get out. And it is really difficult in the beginning. And we have to do a lot of hard hours and a lot of long hours to make that build into something. But once it starts building, we need to understand it's just a vehicle and that other people can help drive that vehicle. You don't have to have every seat on the bus, right? We need to understand that there are other people who are specialists. And as you said, you spoke about it before, it's really hard to trust sometimes, even if you don't have a reason to mistrust because nobody's wronged you.
Yeah.
It's really easy to have the fear inside that you could lose control of this. You could lose profits. You could lose all of these things. It's the fear of the loss because you've invested so much time, right? But you need to develop the skill set of being able to read people and hire accordingly to get the right people on your team who have your back and are also driven by your vision to get where you want to go so that they can all be a part of this great, amazing thing. But it's got to be seen as just a vehicle. Once you absorb it as a part of you and you can no longer distinguish the difference between you and it, then that's where that fear takes over because you don't want yourself to be hurt. It's like a self-preservation, right? So it's really understanding that it's the vehicle. It's the best vehicle in the world to get you where you want to go. But if you don't service that vehicle, if you don't look after yourself, if you don't make sure the business has what it needs, if your team don't have what they need, it's never going to be able to be sustainable in the long term and you will burn out.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want that. That's it. Because once you're gone, the driver of the vehicle, those people can go and get other jobs. Somebody else will take over your industry. Like you have to understand that your life is bigger than this one thing. And it's just to get you where you need to go.
And you're running the business. The business is not running you, So at the end, it's you who's running the business. And then the other thing is like, I have my cousin. He has a refurbishment company in UK. And the other day he was visiting me. I was kind of telling me, Harry, I'm saying no to clients because I have to take all jobs. And so if I cannot take the job, if I book 2 times, I say no to the other person, or I say wait, because I have to be there to make sure that the project is fine and deliver, and I have to work along my workers and so on. And I'm telling to my cousin, I said, look, the more you do this, you think that you're adding value to your business, but you're devaluing your business because the whole point is
it's not worth, if he wanted to sell it, it's not worth anything to anyone. No one's going to buy something. No one's going to buy a job.
Absolutely.
It's a job when it's like that. You don't want that. If you want to ever sell it, it has to be under management because no one wants a job. They can go and open their own business tomorrow and have the same thing.
Absolutely.
And he's exhausting himself doing it.
Exactly. After he finished to work like everybody else, then he goes back and he's doing the accounts and doing this. It's a very small company. But it's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to convey that, but I think it's hard to the entrepreneur to understand that.
Yeah.
It's not about them. Is the value is not actually you being there. It's totally opposite. The value is actually making work without you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
That's what is the and all the time, energy, resources, or whatever it had to be, trying to make that work. Is not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna when I hire the people that were all better than me, but we hire people that were not good, and they quit or whatever. So we kept only the best, but it's a process that you're gonna have. It's not gonna be perfect, but eventually you will master like everything else, and so I think that the people sometimes, including me, and it's sad, but this is how it works. People only change when they have a big setback. A big for me, I was exhausted. I was so tired. I was waking up with the computer. I didn't have more energy. I said, I have the money in the bank account, and I cannot. I'm totally exhausted. I better take this money and pay someone so I can sleep.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, but that person,
having in the bank account, I'm so exhausted. I cannot even, I'm tired of running the business, So
but that can be done by technology now. Like there's a lot that can be done by
exactly. I'm
technology.
talking to you 17 years ago when I opened my first business. Like these stories are 17 years ago. It's not like now that you can do a lot of with the AI. And that also that you can have mentor coaches. Now we have podcasts like this thing. We have reference that we didn't have back then, where people can see some stories, some role models, the people that actually have experience and managed to find the other way around. Because at the end of the day, we only have one life, and we need to make the most out of our life. And there is no, and also, Sonia, sometimes we need to tell to the entrepreneur, listen, it's not working. The thing that you have that you think is a business is just a job, and a bad one. Because you're working 24/7. You either pivot this, let's try to find another income stream with what you're build. Let's see the network. Let's see what can we upsell. So, but sometimes they need, and I know that is hard, especially with my restaurant that collapsed. The whole thing was collapsing. Yeah, the moment my ex-girlfriend, she was an entrepreneur also, and she would go to a restaurant, and as soon as she opened the door, she was telling me, "Harry, close it. It doesn't work." And I remember was like getting angry here, like like it was my baby, even you don't want the people to talk bad about your baby, and she's telling me the truth. She's an entrepreneur, property investor actually, and after I opened the restaurant, I took it having for 2 years. After 3 months, 4 months, every time she opened the restaurant, she would tell me, "It doesn't work. Close it." And I was like, wow, but what's going to happen to the guy that need to pay the rent, or what happened, what going to be, I have my employees, I cannot close it like that. And she was telling me, close it. Because the faster, the better. And I couldn't.
Well, if you're bleeding,
I believe that it could work, but and I tried to make it work the best that I can, to the point that it didn't work. So sometimes you need that person, that someone that have more experience, that actually to tell you the truth, and from you listening the truth, that you decide to give up the thing. Well, might happen, but the longer than I keep it, the truth was then, I lost a lot of money, and then that took me some time to get back on my feet and to pay all that back, and you know what I mean, and to recoup myself. So and I was okay. Some people lost 200K and they jump out of the bridge, you know. So I think that I went out okay out of the whole
Yeah.
thing, you know. But it's that thing that sometimes we need that coach, that mentor, that I don't know, that person to talk, then tell us, look, it's okay, or it's not working, or why. I know that you're passionate about your business, but can you explore rather than work 12 hours? Can you explore to work only 5, or can you start to work from home and don't go every day? It's stressing you out, or you call or fire your clients. You know, we have few clients in our business that they give us so much headache that we say, look, we prefer
Well,
to work
that's
with you.
yeah, but then it's about like you can retrain your clients
As
and
well.
get to a point where they deal with somebody else, or you can automate product processes in your business to give you more time back. You can hire people that aren't even in your business. They can be subcontractors, they can be virtual assistants. They don't have to even be a full-time person, you know, if you just need those few hours and those tasks done. There's so much more available today to give back to ourselves, to give our time back. We just have to, though, only invest in a business that we need to know that's going to be able to keep going. Like you were saying, you were fighting so hard to keep that restaurant because you loved about the restaurant, but it just wasn't working. But you have all the skill set for other businesses. It was just that industry that was fighting back against you, right? Because you were so determined, because you're like, I want to make sure my employees are okay. I need to make sure I can keep to my commitments. But you weren't thinking about the long term. It was like really short term, because you were bleeding and you were trying to put a band-aid on it. But what you needed to do was like cut that arm off and you know, cauterize it. Like, you don't want to keep investing into something, you know, the money's just going out the door, because you could be investing time and money into something that's going to build and grow. And it's having the courage to say, well, this is not working, and I've, you know, I tried, you know, there's a lot of things I could have done differently, but ultimately it didn't work. I'm going to take my skill set and do something else. And there's so much that we can do. Like, we get stuck on saying that we can only do one thing. Well, try something different. You know, then you know at least you've tried. It's better than not trying at all and always wondering.
That's what I learned, Sonia, you know, out of more than 17 years in business, that that being an entrepreneur is a skill set. Is not talent based. You know, I have a cousin that he paints art. He's very talented, you know, or maybe a singer can be talented. But as entrepreneurs, I don't think that we need talent to be good entrepreneurs. I think it's in a skill base. Basically, the more you practice, the better you become. It's like driving or like swimming. The more you swim, the better swimmer you're gonna be. The more you drive the car, the better car driver.
Yeah.
And what the entrepreneur journey is a skill. The more you practice, the better you become. And I think sometimes, you know, all these, like you're saying, you know, don't put the band, cut the arm, and so on. If I don't have the skill of entrepreneur yet advanced, that is part of the process to develop that skill. And it's painful, but I think all of us, in one way or another, one has to go through this, because this is how we're gonna learn. Very few.
That's how you grow. That's how you grow,
how you
right?
grow. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that this restaurant was the biggest, one of the biggest disaster that I've done in business. But looking on the other way, it was the best MBA that I ever can have. You know, the Lord thing is the Lord, when things go bad, this is when you learn about business a lot, you know, because when you're bleeding, you're looking everywhere, and I think in these 2 years, I learned more than that operating the other,
Yeah.
which was actually very profitable, and to the point, the other business, I didn't even to be there, and it was making that money, and everything was going fine. Well, the that one gave me a big lesson, that I still apply today. So
Yep.
I
Well,
learned I learned something very powerful out of these 2 years. And you know what I learned? I learned what I didn't want. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, you don't know what you want, and you are in the business. So after I got that business, after I get out of this restaurant, I knew that I didn't want to be in a place, in a business that's gonna keep me Monday to Sunday. That if an employee doesn't come or the chef doesn't come, I have to be there. That that is located, so I have to wake up and go to a place every day. We don't do that. Not even in the property business. In the property business, at some point, I arrived to the office and I said, guys, I don't like to come to the office. You don't like to come to the office. Nobody like to come to the office. So why we have the office?
Yeah.
Shall we remove the office? And everybody remove the office. I say, okay, I remove the office. I save the money. Everybody work from home. We're working from home
Yeah. Yeah.
17 years ago, I didn't want to go to the office. They they didn't want to go either. Nobody wants to go to the office. So
But
what's
you were
the
so
point?
far ahead of your time. Like, look
Yeah,
at that, 17 years ago. And most
yeah.
people only started doing that when COVID hit, Harry.
Yeah.
Like,
When COVID came, our team, they're looking at each other and they're like, because
nothing's different.
they've been working like that. We have teams, even the people that process this podcast, they are all over the world, they are virtual
Yeah.
assistants. Our team, they are from different countries. Everybody works remote. So have been doing this for years now. But the thing is that it's developing this skill. So Sonia, I think that what can you share to encourage the entrepreneurs, right? That or how can we make this development of the skill less painful as it is? Because it's painful for everybody. So how can we make it less painful? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just to share as well, in one of my businesses, we had lost over $800,000 in 1 year. And that was
Wow.
because of decisions from other businesses, not ours. So we were working with builders, and those builders were largely affected after COVID, and they'd made some terrible decisions, and we'd lost a significant amount of money, and it almost made that company that we had close because it was $800,000 in 1 year.
A
It
lot.
was
A lot.
massive, huge. So I had to do some pretty severe strategies to keep that going. And within 18 months, we turned that business completely back around. And now it makes more money than it has ever made in the
Wow.
existence, of that business. So I have been there when you are on the edge. And the worst part was always feeling, because it wasn't actually anything that we had done. And much like for you, it wasn't anything that you yourself
It's
had
like a
done. You
third
had
party.
done everything. Yeah, you've done everything right. You've followed every step. You have taken advice. You have done everything that you needed to do. And sometimes through forces that are nothing to even do with you can deeply affect your business,
Tell me about
right? And the only thing that you can do is to choose the pathway out or the pathway ahead. Now, if you can't
how to
save that
lose less.
business,
How to lose less.
yeah, yes, absolutely.
Tell me
If
about
you
it.
can't save it, yeah, yeah. But if you can't save it, you need to be okay with waking up tomorrow and no longer having that, and understanding that you can go again. The best thing about being in business is you don't have to just have one. You could have more than one if you are capable. You could have one, then you could sell and close off that journey, or close it and then start another journey, just like you have. So it's understanding that there can be life again if that business is not successful for whatever reason. It doesn't mean that you haven't done all of the correct things. Sometimes you can, and it's just crappy timing, right? COVID really taught us that. You know, some people were in the peak of their business life, and overnight businesses shut like that. You were way ahead of your time in your business, having already been working remotely for 17 years. And that did not affect you because you're already doing all of that. So a lot of other people were kind of late to the game, and they were forced to change.
My event company, we have an event company, Speakers and Leaders, that we were doing physical events all over the world. And
Yeah.
that part of the business was affected heavily because we were doing live events. You know, we do
Yeah.
talks with entrepreneurs, keynote speeches about grow the business, how to start the business, marketing, sales, strategies, and we do these talks in Singapore, Mexico, Peru, Dubai, and London a lot.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
did big events, and people used to come to the event. Listen this carefully. This is before COVID. We're running these big events all over the world. Yeah, people were coming, 100 to 100 people in Singapore. We were doing this workshop. Then it was speakers and leaders, and it's full and whatever. Guess what happened after COVID? Now is way more expensive, 5 times more, to bring the people, to get the people out of the house.
Yeah.
And the hotel price went double. So now the whole business model that existed before, we have to pivot in a different form because of and it was working amazing before. We were, you know, like Rolling Stones, you know, we were arriving to the country, we have drivers, red carpet, and going, the promoter pay for the hotel. My partner Lily, she speak with me. She's a book publisher and international speaker. She speak about sales and personal branding. So there was Harry and Lily, you know, we would go there. We look like the Rolling Stones, you know, they collect you, they pay for the hotel, you arrived, everybody waiting for you, you do the gig, everybody clapping, the car was picking you up, you go to the next gig. It was crazy. Sometimes we have 3 talks in the morning in the Chamber of Commerce, in the afternoon in the university, in the evening in the, I don't know, to women. You see, it was like that. And to the point that I remember 2018, 2019, those years, we only spent 4 months in London. The rest was flying.
Wow, you would have had some good miles.
Doing those talks. And overnight, COVID came.
Yep.
And disappeared the whole industry that now is picking up really, really slowly. And yeah, eventually, but now a lot of people prefer to learn online, and they don't want to get out of the house and go to any hotel to see the people live when they can do the same online. And so therefore it's more expensive to do the event, therefore it's more expensive to the marketing to see these people. And but Sonia, I'm okay with it. I know that I can pivot. I know that I can create a product. I'm not depressed. I'm not stressed out. I'm not, you see, we're doing this podcast because and we have this idea to start this podcast that honestly, I'm having beautiful time because I'm meeting people like you, amazing people, you know. So you know what I mean?
And we're sharing and we're building a network all over the world.
Exactly.
Using technology.
So, you know, it's sometimes the worst day of your life become the best day of your life. So we shouldn't be so, you know, caught up like, oh my God, this didn't work, or why this was working amazing and now it's not there. It's okay. Something, you know.
But you know what's really important, I guess, is when time has passed, because it's really hard. It's really hard when you're in the thick of it and it's really hurting and you're agonizing over the decision. But I bet now, looking back at after closing the restaurant, that you feel like that lesson that you had to learn was one of the most important lessons in your life. And now that you haven't been through that, you feel like you could take on just about anything.
Exactly.
Because you know that you came out the other side and you're okay. Like you're physically okay. Yeah, you've still got your family, your partner, like you're still living your life.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, give me also confidence, like, you know, like, wow, I get out of this. How am I managed to get out of this mess, you know? And so, and I did get out, and the business, the property business keep running and everything was fine. Uh,
Yep.
maybe, Steve Jobs always said that you only can connect the dots backwards. So
Reverse engineer that.
things happens, and when you're looking back, maybe the business that I have now, the things that I have now, if all these things haven't been happening in the past, maybe I would be in another business, and could be maybe in the situation like your friend, so burnout because
Yeah.
a lesson and everything. So send my message to your friend that it's okay, because now what she has is a great skill set. So
She does.
just in the
Absolutely.
company, she already have this skill set. So when she's fine, she can go to holiday, she can rest, and when she's fine, she can start something really tiny with few people, like I did, everybody online, no headache, no office, and you can make it work again. It's just
And that's what we went to an event earlier this year, because I want to incorporate professional speaking into my business, and she
wow.
now wants to talk a lot about what she's achieved in her life, and the impact that it had, and she's really talking about that mental health. And for me, it's incorporating talking about the businesses, and that you need to protect yourself, and you need to have other sources of income generating in the background, because you need fallbacks. You need to know that if that shut down overnight, your business shut down, that you're financially going to be okay. And we've all got these great learnings and lessons, and we can put them into delivering it through keynote speaking or some other avenue where we can share to other entrepreneurs and help enable them to feel like they understand, and that it's okay, that if you're not feeling like you can go into the office, that's okay. We're all here. Most of us have felt that before. And how do you navigate through that and get support?
Yeah, Sonia. So tell us about this more, because a bit more. We are about to conclude the podcast, but tell us a bit more, because I'm very interested, because I think that that will help a lot of entrepreneurs. I think that that is very common, very very common, that we have a business, the business is doing well, and we think that this business never gonna die. It will be there forever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't really work like that. Could be external factor, could be my big client shut down, could be what happened to my company. My company that was doing very well, the property was doing amazing, but you know what? Technology advanced, something like Airbnb came, and we took a hit.
Yeah.
It came with better technology and better solution than ours, and now, nice, the profit margin, everything start to reduce, right? So could be that technology advance, and maybe the business that you have now working, somebody else can come with better solution. So it's very
Yeah.
good
That's
idea.
right.
And also that entrepreneurs are not investors, they are entrepreneurs, right? An entrepreneur, in order to become an investor, need to have several business falling down, and make them back up, and eventually develop the mind as an investor. But an entrepreneur is not an investor. But this thing that you are talking about, your topic, which is how to train entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs and investors at the same time, I think it's amazing, because parallel they can, the wealth that they're achieving, they can put it into property, which we love. It's a wonderful vehicle to have another stream of income, or another asset. Whatever the entrepreneur feel like, that can give this passive income, can give this
Yeah.
revenue,
Yeah.
actually monthly revenue, right? That can give,
Yeah.
it's gonna give them, to the entrepreneur, a lot of peace, a lot of mental health relief, and a lot of fulfillment. And he can be operating his business, but he has an engine in the background that the children are safe, the mortgage will be paid, the food for everybody will be paid, and
Yeah.
so I applaud you for that idea. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I
Thank
encourage
you.
you to keep working on that. Tell us where if people, the listeners, want to know more about this. what they can visit, what can they visit, and how they can find you.
They can find me obviously through my website. I am based in Australia, but I talk to people all over the world. My website's www.clearplanconsulting.com.au, and they can find me on the social networks and have a chat. So always happy to, speak to people about their journey and what that looks like for them in the future.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sonya,
Thank you for having me.
the broadcast, and for all of you entrepreneurs. See you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneurs like Sonya break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.